Every year, more than $15 trillion flow through a company that has never lent a single person any money. It doesn't issue credit cards. It doesn't decide your interest rate. If you miss a payment, it isn't the one chasing you down. And yet, in 2025, this company pulled in around $40 billion in revenue, with a profit margin most banks could only dream of. This is Visa, and understanding how it makes money changes how you look at every card in your wallet. To see why Visa's business is so unusual, you have to go back to where it started, inside a single, struggling bank program. In 1958, Bank of America launched something new called Bank AmeriCard. The idea was simple but risky: mail out working credit cards with a $300 limit to tens of thousands of people in Fresno, California, who hadn't even asked for one. It did not go smoothly. Fraud and unpaid balances piled up fast, and the bank lost serious money sorting out the mess. By the late 1960s, a banker named Dee Hock was brought in to help manage the program's expansion. Hock noticed a deeper problem. Other banks around the country wanted to issue their own version of the card, but everything ran through Bank of America, a direct competitor, creating obvious conflicts of interest. Hock's solution reshaped the entire industry. In 1970, he convinced Bank of America to give up direct ownership of the card program entirely. In its place, a new company formed, jointly owned by all the participating banks together, rather than controlled by any single one of them. In 1976, that company took on a new name, chosen specifically because it was easy to pronounce and instantly recognizable in almost any language on Earth: Visa. From the very beginning, Visa wasn't built to be a bank. It was built to be something more like a shared set of railroad tracks that banks could all run their trains on. Here's how that actually plays out today. When you buy a coffee with a Visa card, 4 separate parties are involved. You're the cardholder. Your bank, the one that issued your card, is called the issuer. The coffee shop's bank, which handles the transaction on the merchant side, is called the acquirer. And Visa sits in the middle of all of it, running the network that connects the other 3. Visa's own network, called VisaNet, authorizes, clears, and settles the transaction, usually within a couple of seconds. But Visa itself never touches the credit risk. If you don't pay your bill, that's a problem for your issuing bank, not for Visa. This is the part people often get wrong. Most of the fee charged on a transaction, known as the interchange fee, doesn't actually go to Visa. It flows from the merchant's bank to your bank, largely to cover fraud protection and the cost of extending you credit. Visa sets the rules for how that fee schedule works, but it doesn't pocket that money itself. What Visa actually earns is a separate, much smaller fee, charged to the banks on both sides for simply using its network. On a typical transaction, that might be a fraction of a percent, plus a few cents. It sounds tiny, but multiply that sliver by 276 billion transactions in a single year, and it adds up to tens of billions of dollars, without Visa ever lending a cent or absorbing a single bad debt. By 2025, Visa controlled just over half of the entire global credit card market, more than any other network on the planet. Its operating margin regularly runs above 60%, a level most industries, including banking itself, rarely come close to. For most of its history, Visa wasn't even a normal company. It operated as a cooperative, jointly owned by thousands of member banks, with no public shareholders at all. That changed in March of 2008, when Visa converted into a public company and listed on the New York Stock Exchange, raising close to $18 billion in one of the largest public offerings in history at the time. So what actually makes this business model so powerful? First, Visa built the infrastructure, not the risk. Banks compete fiercely to lend money and absorb defaults. Visa simply provides the rails that let all of them move money safely and instantly, and gets paid for access to those rails regardless of who wins or loses on any individual loan. Second, scale turns a tiny fee into a massive business. A fraction of a percent means almost nothing on a single transaction. Applied to trillions of dollars moving through the network every year, it becomes one of the most reliable revenue streams in the world.